Hello. I'm Forrest Shaw, and I've got a problem. Coming to you from Las Vegas, gambling capital of the world. I think it's the gambling capital of the world, right? What else would it be? Macau? I don't think they have as many casinos, but I've never been there, so I don't want to speak out of turn. I am excited to announce that we have a gambling addict on the podcast today. Take my glasses off. So that's fun. I don't know if that's the right word, fun, but been waiting to talk to someone about gambling. Vince Carone, comic, so he'll be coming up shortly. Thanks to everybody that's listened this far. Please subscribe, rate, and comment, all that good stuff. If you haven't done that yet, do it on multiple platforms. I see a bunch of people came over from the ATM. What is that? At This Moment podcast with Jim and Amos. So I'm happy they said something on there. And if you came from there, thanks for being here. We're just getting going here. We're figuring it out, everybody. If the first podcast you listened to was me by myself, I don't know. Poke around a few others and see what you think. If it's not for you, I understand. Might not be for everyone, this podcast, but thank you for giving it a whirl, and subscribe, and then just let it sit there. Just give me the numbers. Give me the numbers. I don't know why, because I'm not going to ever sell advertising. If you want to donate money to the podcast, there's a donate button on foreshaw.net in the podcast section. Thank you to those of you that have donated. And while you're on the website, check out my upcoming shows. Got a bunch of fun shows. I will be, this week, I will be in Victoria, Canada, one night only at Heckler's Comedy Club. Terrible name for a comedy club. So that'll be May 10th that I'm at Heckler's, 2 shows, one night. Come out. I heard it's a great time. I heard Victoria is beautiful. Can't wait to see it. And then I will be in the desert for a while, doing a lot of shows out in Coachella area and Joshua Tree area and stuff like that. And then look at my website after that. Florida and Idaho and Canada, Toronto, Montreal. Come check me out somewhere. That being said, I don't have any gripes this week, so I've got another problem. I'm sure I'll have something for next week, but things are good here in Vegas, not gambling. Positive. Let's get the podcast started, and I will talk to you on the other side. All right. Hey, everybody. I'm here with today's guest, Vince Carone. Hi, Vince. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Before we get started, just want to let people know where they can find you. You can go to his website, vincecarone.com, and Carone is Carone, or badfather.com. Is that correct? Badfather.com?
Thebadfather.com.
The Bad Father. Thank you. And he has a special called Bad Father that you can find on Tubi, or Apple, or you can tell you other places like that. And follow him on Instagram as well. At Vince Carone, pretty much at Vince Carone is everything. You got that name.
I got that in all social media, and there's another Vince Carone that's out there that I've come across that I'm sure the guy is incredibly frustrated that I've got the actual Vince Carone at everything. So
wait, what does he do?
Something in business. I don't know. We've crossed paths a couple times online, and I'm like, yep, sorry, man.
Business. I don't care. You don't deserve a website. So unless you're an entertainer or something.
That's
else.
it.
Thanks for being here. Is there anything else you want to promote? I'm sorry that.
Nothing. I got a new special I'm recording called "It's Not All Peaches." I'll be recording that in June of 2025. I don't know exactly when this will air, but it'll be June of 2025, and I'll be recording it at the MGM in Las Vegas. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah, and I'm excited because I'm 11 episodes into this podcast. I'm a gambling addict, and you are the first person. I haven't even asked yet. So hey, what's your problem?
I'm a gambling addict, is what
yes.
it is. Yes.
Yes. I'm very excited. I mean, excited. I don't know if that's the right word to talk to you, but I've been talking to alcoholics and drug addicts so far, which, we all share this common thread, and it's easy to talk about addiction with people that are addicts of whatever it is. But I am, excited is the right word, I guess.
It's where I run into the counterpart of my addiction. So yeah.
Okay, so there are plenty of people that are gambling addicts. I am currently in Las Vegas. You just said you're going to film your next special in Las Vegas. I'm here opening for Jim at the Palazzo. I've come here at least, I don't know, 13 times a year between the Cellar and Jim and this and that. Um, and you walk through the casinos here. Like, I mean, I'm sure you can do the same thing. I can just look at people and just be like, all right. It takes 2 seconds, and that
Yeah, I
guy
can
probably has a
identify it.
problem. Yeah,
Yeah, I
or
know it
that
right away.
woman. Or, um, what do you think it is that it's less? There's more of a stigma associated to it, or is it just less people are? Because I think it's always like you're a drug addict, you're an alcoholic, it's noticeable. Whereas if you're a gambling addict, people just don't know.
Yeah, I think drugs and alcohol. I mean, I know people can do them privately, but it usually starts out publicly until it gradually works its way, into you, and then and so you can see it. People kind of wear it on the outside. Gambling addiction doesn't usually happen in group settings, right? We kind of. I don't know how you were. I always wanted to be alone with it. Like even from the start, like when I wanted to gamble, I wanted to be alone. Like that was and people couldn't see it. Like, I could lose $10,000 and walk back out on the street. Nobody can just see that, like, from a physical standpoint. Like, I'm not losing weight. My eyes aren't sunken in unless they caught me, after like a 24-hour, bender
Yeah.
or something. But it's not as visible, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I always used to say, like, if you knew someone that was a drug addict, you would see they're strung out. If they're an alcoholic, they're, hungover, whatever. But we're just assholes for a brief period of time or something. like that guy's in a bad mood today. Yeah. Um, but alone is, yeah, I definitely have gambled alone a lot more. And even when you're not alone, it's usually a casino and you're surrounded by people you don't know, but you
Right.
you'll see somebody. I remember that first time when I saw people at a casino that I would go to that now I knew.
Yeah,
And
or the dealer recognizes you and asks
yeah,
where you've been, or yeah, right. But running into people, and you just you grow to know, like, yeah, these people are doing the same thing I am, or have the same condition I have.
yeah, I ended up dating a dealer.
Oh, did you really?
And yeah, she really liked the gamble. She worked at a casino where they allowed you to gamble at that casino, which is not common, I don't think.
Yeah.
And so after a shift, she just sat down next to me one time and we got along, and she liked gambling. So I was like, oh, cool. This is like, what even better way to, you know, to enable me than have someone that I'm dating
Yeah.
gambling.
But you're not even thinking that at the time. You're thinking, great, somebody I can go play with that gets it. Like, you don't
Yeah.
like when I would connect with. I've got a few friends that I wouldn't say they had a gambling problem as much as mine, but you could tell the roots are in there. And when we would go out together, we'd all go out with the same purpose. Like, yeah, we're going out to win money to take the house. This isn't. We're not going out to have fun and just have a fun evening. We're going out to win. So, it was always better with those individuals.
Yeah, but to your point about being alone, though, is when I did eventually, we were dating, we would go gamble together, and I think I mean, she probably had some level of gambling addiction, but I think I still shocked her a lot, where she would be like, Don't do that. Like, why are you gambling that much, or stop?" Like, so then it got to the point where I was like, I don't want to date her anymore because it was like
Yeah.
affecting my gambling. I was like,
Well,
but
and she sees a million people like you every day, where she could see
um,
those signs like a mile away, like this person's about to give everything back or about to dump it all right now. They're on tilt, as we call it, right? So
yeah,
she probably saw it all the time.
yeah, 100%. So, um, and so when you're in Vegas, because I'm here now, and you're going to be here, what do you? How does it work? Like, what do you do personally? For me, I try to, even at this point, if I try to not have access to cash, like when
Okay.
I'm here. I'm single, so that makes it harder. But I have banks that are not like brick and mortar banks.
Right.
They're all just online. That doesn't mean you can't get cash out of stuff, but I can, keep cards in certain places. But I don't know. I just try to set up more roadblocks in Vegas. Or do you think you're at a point like where you don't even think about that, or what do you like? I don't know what your backstory or anything like that. Like how long it's been since you've
Yeah.
gambled.
March 25th of this year was 6 years since I've been clean with it. How about you?
I'm only at 6 months right now,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
I had 14 years at one point.
Did you?
So
Okay. Wow. Okay.
yeah, and I had 14 years, and I don't know if people on this. I have done some talking about my own background, but just as a quick synopsis, like I stopped gambling in 2004, and then I didn't gamble again until I moved to LA. in the late whatever 14 years from that is. I can't do math right now, but and then I just went in and out, and then I had another long period of a couple years where I didn't, and then I went back, and I just have really struggled with it over the last 5 years. But I did about 6 months ago. I started making. I'm just getting just a lot of stuff in my life happened. I mean, besides being transferring addictions, so like eating things like that, I'm overweight. Um, I just is one of the reasons I started this podcast too, was just another way to hold myself accountable, because a lot of times I'd be like, well, I'm on the road. I'm not gonna do the things that I normally would do that would help to prevent me gambling, whether I'm going to a meeting or
Right.
XYZ or something. So when I'm here now, like specifically when I'm here now, I don't have any access to cash. Like I can't get cash right now, and um that makes it difficult when you're traveling as a comic. You got to check into hotels. I have credit cards, but I can't take cash on them.
That's great.
And so I just do that because I know, especially where I'm at right now, in a way more vulnerable state, that I just need to be able to do that. And and I just find a lot of stuff to do here. Like if you want to know stuff to do that's not gambling in Vegas, I'm your guy. I can.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the big one, is right. I mean, any type of therapy or Gamblers Anonymous or any really anonymous type program, they tell you, learn your triggers, right, and figure out how to get ahead of them, right. And so, I mean, obviously, going to Vegas would be a huge trigger, but probably even more so would be downtime or boredom would probably be an even bigger one for you. I mean, it was for me,
Yeah.
and so when I'm in a, I don't ever want to say I'm in a better spot, because I mean, like you said, you had 14 years, it could creep back at any point, but as of right now, I don't worry about the cash in my pocket in Vegas. That's not my biggest concern. For me, what I tell, I work Vegas once a year. I'm based out in Chicago, so I go once a year, and I've done that for the last 4 years now. After I quit in 2019, I didn't go back out to Vegas for 3 years, and so and I'd previously gone, like you said, to Vegas probably like 5-6 times a year for most of my adult life.
Yeah.
I took 3 years off of Vegas, then I went out there. I got booked again. I was in a good place with it. And what I do now is I tell Vegas that I have to be booked like between like May and September, because it's pool season. So I
Hmm.
need that pool during the day. I need to be able to go. That's part of killing some time out there.
Yeah.
I enjoy going to the pool. I enjoy hanging. I got friends that come out with me. We'll go do that. And then with the show at night, I can kind of balance out day and night. I don't really. I could probably go in the winter and be okay, but I feel like that downtime boredom might just be more of a trigger than I actually need. So if I have a choice, I'm trying to go during nice weather, even though it's hotter in June and July when I'm going. It's crazy hot. I still find that to be a better piece for me, and more people can come out over the summer to see me and hang out when I'm out there. And I
Hmm.
find that to be a good thing too. Than during the school year with them having kids and all this other stuff.
Like
Um,
accountability, you mean, or something like that, or
I think
yeah.
so. I don't shy away from telling people I have it, and I don't go out of my way and just tell everybody I'm a gambling addict. But if it comes up at all, I own it immediately. So a group of friends in the neighborhood. Once I had kids, the neighborhood started kind of bonding together. They were like, "Hey, you want to come over and play poker this weekend?" Sorry, I'm a gambling addict. I can't. Like,
Yeah.
I feel it's my responsibility to own, rather than just say no and skirt it. I just own it and take it head on. It's a little embarrassing, but it keeps me accountable, and they never ask again, and then it helps. And so when these people come on out and they come on out and hang out with me, people know my backstory. They know that I've got that addiction, um, and people work with me. They don't ask me, if they want to gamble, they'll go do it while I'm doing my show, and they kind of do it in the off times of me being around, or you know what I mean. So they're not
Mm.
trying to do it right in front of me. They're trying to to help me. So it's
Would
kind
that
of nice.
bother you if they did it right in front of you? You think? Or?
No. No, my mom and dad come out to Vegas every time I'm there, and we used to always go together. We love to gamble together, and they'll try and do their own thing. But once in a while, it'll be like, hey, I'll come stand behind you and just kind of watch you for a little bit. And they get a little iffy on that, but I know like it doesn't bother me. There's probably different types of addicts. I know alcoholics that just can't go into a bar. They just can't do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. It's your trigger. I know I've got a couple friends who are comedians that were alcoholics that they can hang out all night in a bar and just that doesn't bother them anymore. I'm kind of on that half for gambling. I
Yeah.
don't hate gambling. I didn't like turn my back on it. Like I really enjoyed doing it, but It was I didn't have control over it. So
Yeah.
it's not like I can't watch it. No, I can watch it. I just know that if I do it, I'm gonna lose everything I've got, and I'm gonna jeopardize my marriage and my relationship with my kids and a bunch of consequences that I don't really want in my life.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I know alcoholics that are bartenders,
Right.
recovering, I know, I have a friend that's gambling addict and he's a dealer.
Yeah.
So I think you're right. It's just all depends on the individual person for you. I don't have any problem watching gambling. If I watch some, like a friend gamble, um, and I think it's more like, I think they're gambling wrong bothers me.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
And what was your game of choice?
Well, I started off sports betting. That's what when I started off, was just sports betting throughout college, and then even out when I got out of college, and I was, it was just for years. I never even stepped foot in the casino, and then I really kind of discovered casinos in LA, of all
Hmm.
places, um, and that's one of the. So I have done very little gambling in Las Vegas ever.
Okay.
I've done way more gambling in Los Angeles, in the area, and these are not great casinos. These are casinos that are just, tucked away in little neighborhoods. Some of them are bigger than others.
Sure.
You have to pay to play kind of thing. You have to ante up some money for each hand, because there's whatever loophole that they're opening casino.
Got it.
And when you said the downtime thing, that's the key. Is like, when I'm here in Las Vegas, there's a couple of things. Same as you, I let everybody know within earshot of me that I'm a compulsive gambler.
Yep.
All my friends know, all the comics know, and any given point in this town, there's 5 or 6 comics that I know. This
Right.
weekend, I know 7 or 8 comics that are doing shows. Some in theaters, some at clubs, whatever. When I work the cellar in the Rio, everybody in that room knows. So if I was like sitting outside at the table, not that
Right.
they're going to drag me away, but it's the accountability, like we're talking about.
Yep.
And when I do, if it's the winter here, like, and you can't go to the pool like you're talking about, I go out to Valley of Fire or Red Rocks, go hiking. I'll sometimes I'll drive out to the Grand Canyon. I'll go to like the Pinball Hall of Fame here. I'll go to some museums and stuff. There's a lot of stuff to do here.
Yeah.
It's the downtime in LA where I live, when I have quote unquote nothing to do. There's always something to do, but there's when I tell myself like, I'm just going to do nothing today. And then I'm just sitting there and I know it's this long at this time of day to drive to X casino. That's when I can get in trouble. So it's interesting to me that I feel, and like, I don't want to use the words either, like you said, strong but I do feel more, like, I don't feel emboldened when I'm in Vegas, which you'd think would be the opposite of that.
Yeah, you think it'd be a big trigger, but there's purpose to be there. There's other things to do. Like,
Yeah.
again, like that's not always the way, because that's not the trigger. The trigger wasn't like the excitement to like, oh, I'm excited by all the lights. I got to go do this. That's not it. There's plenty of other stuff to do. It's that downtime for me, that boredom would kick in, or just what am I supposed to do with my time? I was never a big drinker and stuff like that. So when I was on the road doing comedy all throughout my 20s, you'd go to a town, people would be like nursing a hangover all day. I'd be up at 8 a.m. I'd go hit the gym. I was doing actually good things for my body and stuff. And then I'd be like, great, now I've got till 8 or 9 tonight. What am I going to do? Oh, there's a casino 45 minutes away,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah, I'm going to make money this weekend. I had a day job at the time. I'm like, this is all extra money anyway, and I could have a chance to win more. And so that started the cycle. And for me, it was blackjack. With all the
Yeah.
boredom on the road, I taught myself how to count cards. And so, which is a dangerous thing to do, because it's not, I'm not a part of an MIT team with an endless bankroll. This is me doing it by myself. So it can go really well or it can go really, really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what once I discovered casinos, it was blackjack. And I was like, and that's the only game I knew how to play. And then I slowly learned how to play every other game. Like, I would just go around and, hey, gambling, here's another one. And then I get involved in these, they call them carnival games. I think that's what the casinos call them. They don't list that as them most oftentimes
Right.
when you walk in, but it really is. They call them carnival games because they're just complete soccer games. But some of them are slower. Like, and so than blackjack. So I would like sitting there and talking to people and then trying to convince myself that these people were my friends and I was doing something social when in fact it was just this degeneracy, you know?
Yeah.
So, but, yeah, yeah, that was a running theme from the first episode I did with my buddy Al Jackson. And, we talked about free time. And I think that that can't be stressed enough with anything that, any kind of, and not even just addiction, just bad habits if you're forming, is,
Yeah.
is,
Time's got to be filled in. There's like, I went on the road with this one comic a couple of years back, and he's like, is stand up all you're doing? I was like, well, I also write comedic training scripts for a corporate consulting company. And so they pay
mm,
me to write these, funny, funny sales training, whatever, corporate funny, not that you and I would love it like as a stand up
yeah.
piece, but it keeps me in the writing, the humor world, and gives me a check. And I said it with a little bit of embarrassment, and he's like, dude, I just don't think anybody should just be doing like stand up like at our level. Like, I think you have to have something else you're doing during the day. So even like once you make it big, then you're doing press and you're doing promotion. There's other things that occupy the day. It's not like most people aren't just sitting around till 8 at night with nothing to do and then working for 1 hour. That's not good for people to do. It sounds like it's a dream life, but that's not good to be doing.
No, this always sticks in my head, and I never looked it up to see if it's true. But my mom used to tell me, and this is when she passed away, but she was older and she was sicker. She would always get up and walk, and this is like she had surgeries on her legs, or she had like rods in her leg. Any most people would just be like, I'm not getting this hurts too much. I'm not doing this. But she made sure to walk every day and drink water. These were her two keys. But she told me that if you don't move, your muscles in your body start atrophying
Yeah.
within less than 24 hours. And that always, sometimes I'll be like lying in bed, you wake up, like my dog will jump in bed and I'll be like, I'm just going to stay here for like a couple hours. And then I don't know if it's just my mom's in my head making me think that something's happening to my legs. I'm like, I think my legs are
Yeah.
atrophying. But I always think about that as like, just as a rule where you're like, yeah, just keep moving. And again, not even an addiction thing. The oldest people that I've seen that have, and this is if you want to live to be 100, some people don't, but the people that live the longest are the ones that are not only active physically, but mentally too.
Right.
Otherwise you're just wasting away, and it's just sad. So
Yeah, well,
yeah.
it's given the body purpose, both physically and mentally, like you said, and sometimes emotionally too. It's having that purpose to get moving, and I think it's Doug Stanhope one point on one of his albums. I think he said like boredom is a disease worse than cancer, and he had other parts that went with it. But that line always stuck out to me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, because it really is like we're not meant to just be bored with like nothing to do. I know like it's okay to take a beat and to have a rest day and to have moments of downtime. That's okay, but like boredom it drives me insane, and that's what drove my addiction. So I had to like fill boredom with other things and other quick go tos over time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is true. Like I guess every other animal is doing, like they're either just trying not to get killed or figuring out what they're going to kill to eat,
Right? Yeah,
finding shelter, but it's like their whole day.
yeah,
That's why I feel my dog is right behind me. Well, he's sleeping. He looks fine. Yeah, you can't see because I have this now.
yeah,
But I wonder sometimes, and this is I look at him and I'm like, man, he must be bored. I gotta stimulate him somehow, and I don't know if that's true with a domesticated dog or not, but this is some sort of guilt that I have in my head
yeah.
that I'm driving him to this early grave or something. But then I read somewhere that dogs like to sleep almost as much as cats. So I don't know. I don't know who wrote that. Somebody that's probably lazy and doesn't want to take their dog to the park.
Yeah,
But
probably what it is.
but yeah, it's especially when we're on the road as a comic. It's I can I've this is again, you can see how it's just so easy to, if you're an alcoholic and you're a comic. God, I mean, I don't think there can be anything worse because you get free drinks where you work for the most
Yeah,
part. You have all this time to fill, so a lot of people will be, people could just easily be like, "We're going to start drinking at noon and then head into the show," and it's like I think it's changed a lot in recent years, but I think historically it was just almost like, yeah, you're supposed to be drunk as like,
Yeah, well, I think it's with especially when you get to these runs, where you go play a place 3-4 days in a row at the same place. It's like, well, okay, I actually don't have to be up tomorrow until the showtime, so you
yeah,
could go out and get plowed all night and sleep it off all day. I mean, there was just no consequence at
yeah,
that point. Gambling was just different. I remember doing shows. I was out in Davenport, Iowa, doing shows probably back in like 2008, and at that time I was in for $1,500 in blackjack at the casino. I'd 500, put it out there, lost it, went to the ATM, 500, whatever, credit card advance 500, and and I was losing. My show's like coming up, and I'm supposed to be featuring, so I only have like a 20-minute set. There was one show that night, and I was down to like my last 200, and I got it back to $1,000 out of the 1,500. And so I told the dealer, I go, hey, put a marker here, which for those that don't know, they hold your spot, and I shoved $1,000 of chips into my pocket, ran out to my car, sped 10 minutes away to get to the club. Got there right before the show started. The MC did 10 minutes. I went up, did 20, drove right back, flew right back to the casino, had my marker, got in my spot, sat down, and kept gambling again. Like that's where
yeah,
I would get to with it. That's how it would get to me.
yeah. I've done that. I've done some version of that for sure. Yeah, and it's and you, the crazy thing is that like sometimes people will be like, don't they think it would affect your set? But you're
Yeah,
like this. I don't know if I had a good set or a bad set when I did that. I just remember thinking like, especially if you had some chips in your pocket or something like that, you'd be in this like, in the hyper, like you're in the mood like, hey, everything's on the up and up, but in reality, you know what was going to happen. That was just your fuel to go back there and lose it all, just be in the action. So
yeah. The $1,000 like kicked in the dopamine enough to get me excited. Like hey, I still have a chance, right? Because it was Norm Macdonald. I think he said like the moment between when you place your bet and the card coming out of the shoe, like that's
yeah,
that's the addiction.
yeah,
That's the excitement. That brief moment right in between. Everything else is just the game. Like that moment is where the hope lies, and it's like that's what we would live for. Like win or lose, like that's what it was. And sometimes I don't I think gambling addiction differs from other addictions in that like I don't know that like alcoholics like getting like blackout drunk. I don't think there's like a fun. I mean, there's a fun on the way, but for
mm,
gambling, I don't know how you were, but for me, like the more I lost was even more excited when I would come back. Like getting back to even after losing a lot was
yeah,
oftentimes way more thrilling than just winning out of the gate and going up money.
yeah. No, for sure. But and it was that because you put yourself in situations. You'd put yourself in situations where you convince yourself in your brain, you're like, all right, I gambled all this money. Now I have this money left in my account. If I spend that money and I don't win it back, I don't have rent
Right.
or I don't
Right.
have food or gas or whatever. Like I'd have nothing for however many days,
Yeah.
and you still would be like that thrill of taking that would be like, oh, this is the addiction at work here, where it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do that, and without any the consequences, be damned, they're in the back of your head, and that's part of the thrill. But and there's many times you lose all that money, and now you're just like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Now I'm gonna have to like go to a pawn shop, or I'm gonna have to um ask for an advance on money or some bullshit that you don't want to have to do. I think I don't even know if I mentioned on this podcast the other day, but I just bought I have this USB mic that I bring on the road that I'm not using today. But I have a better one of those mics with the arm, and it has the 3-prong cable. I don't the
Yep.
3/4 inch. I don't know any terms.
Yeah. The XLR. Yeah. Yep. That's what it is.
XLR. Thank you. I did actually know that, but you had to say it. So I needed the interface that plugs into the USB, and then it converts it and it's a way better sound. I don't know if my sound's gonna be great in this podcast, but I knew to go to a pawn shop to buy that stuff. Like I knew I was like, I'm gonna go to a pawn shop and see that.
Right.
And sure enough, they had for $39 this thing that was $129. It was used and I got a cable, I got the mic arm and that interface, and I think I saved probably like $200. And that's just that was like I was like, hey, glass half full. Being a degenerate gambler, I was like, I know to go to a pawn shop and I see a guitar hanging behind you, pawn guitars. I mean, I've done it like all that stuff at pawn shops. So, um,
I was in back in 2013. I was down $15,000. I was into a bookie for 15,000.
mm,
I had paid it, but like in my head, I'm like I'm down 15. It's not like you
yeah,
just go, hey, people go, when's enough enough? Why don't you just stop? It's like, well, that's not how the addiction works. You know, my dad would even say that, and he would watch me be an addict with it, and he would go, well, Vince, you just got to set a limit and then just stop at that limit. It's like, oh, well, that's fucking brilliant. I never actually thought of that. No, of course,
yeah,
that's the dream, is to be able to, why don't you just stop after 2 drinks? Well, of course, that sounds logical to somebody who's not an addict, but in my brain, it's not like, hey, I lost $200, move on with your life. It's I got to get my $200 back, and I'm willing to spend another 1,000 to do it.
yeah,
And then then for 1,000, I'm willing to spend 3 more thousand to get my 1,000 back. And so at one point, I'd paid out $15,000. I had maxed out a couple credit cards. I was married for a year at this point, and I don't know if that made it better or worse. When I was single and I was accountable to myself, I felt like I stopped earlier because I would just get mad at a certain point that I eventually clarity would kick in, and I go, I'm going to stop now. I've lost enough money. Whereas when I was married, it was like, well, if I stop now, I got to tell my wife eventually about my credit card that she doesn't know about, because I'll have
mm,
no way to pay it off. So the only way to not tell her was to keep gambling. And so I gambled and racked up 15 grand. And I remember at one point going like, I don't know how I'm going to pay off 15 grand on credit cards. I'll never be able to, this is 12 years later. I'd still be paying it with the, trying to hide money and do it. And so I remember at one point, like looking, I got like, probably 10 guitars. I'm like looking like, do I just have to go sell all my guitars and my computer? And I'm like running the math on like what a pawn shop is going to give me, or even like a Facebook marketplace. I'm going, I could sell all that and still not put a dent into this. So at that point, it's like I can't even,
yeah,
and what do you do? It's just stupid.
yeah. It's like we were talking about with casinos, and eventually a dealer recognizes you, or like a regular casino ring or something. I knew people at pawn shops pretty well.
Did
Like
you?
I had really good relationships with people at pawn shops, which just like, hey, back again, yeah, yeah, how's it going? Yeah, you know the drill. Like and nothing. I mean, there's a lot of people in pawn shops that
Yeah.
are, when you're walking in a pawn shop, most people are like down on their luck, and you feel bad for other people. They'll be coming in with like, hey, I have XY, I have this silver, actual silverware, So they're like, how much can I give for this? They're like $50, probably I'll give you, and then yeah, I'll take it. And it's like, all right, this is depressing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Somebody like hawking their wedding ring in there, just, and it just,
Yeah,
but now did you ever buy your stuff back from the pawn shops, or did you always just
always.
forego it? You
No,
did.
I shouldn't say always, but I pawn. I have it still. I have a gold necklace that was my grandfather's, and I have a silver necklace. I have this one on right now. I wear one of these too, and it's a Saint Christopher. It's my middle name, and I when he passed away, I wore this when he was alive. He's like he wore this silver one. He was a tail gunner in World War II. And St. Christopher is, I'm not very religious at all. I'm not, when I say very, I'm not religious at all. But St. Christopher was watched over you when you traveled. And so when I started traveling a lot at the comic, I started wearing this silver necklace and being like, well, this is a good luck, just a good luck charm. But also, it was my grandfather's cool. When he passed away, he had a gold one, 16 karat gold necklace with a little dime on it, which is the first dime he ever earned, like throwing paper, like paper route or
Wow.
something like that. And that was surrounded by 16 karat gold. And it jingled when he walked, so you could hear him when he was walking down a hallway or coming in or whatever. And my grandmother gave it to me and said, you should have this because you have the other one. And I look just like my grandfather and XYZ and stuff. So, and that is such a treasured keepsake that the fact that I ever even pawned it makes me feel like shit and makes me feel like disgusted that way. But I've pawned that many times. I pawned that in another country one time.
Wow.
When I had a week that I was leaving this country. This is in Asia, It was where was that? Singapore. There was a giant casino in Singapore, and I had done a tour with Jim Jeffries, who I'm here with now, and then he left back home and I went back and did a tour through Asia on my own, and I went to Bali, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, Bangkok, a bunch of other places, and for whatever reason, I decided I hadn't gambled in I couldn't tell you how long it had been since I gambled, but a couple of years at least. And I decided for whatever triggered me there to go gamble at this big casino. I lost a bunch of money. Now I'm on the road by myself. So I went to a pawn shop in Singapore. Imagine, like
Yeah.
I just found a place, pawned the necklace, got the money, went back to the casino. If I lose that money, I have no money
Right.
and I'm in Singapore. You know what I'm saying? I had some
Yeah.
airline tickets to get back, but I don't have. And somehow I won money. I was playing blackjack, and I won a lot of money. Ended up winning a lot of money where I could buy the necklace back. But I'm sorry, I left out an important part of the story. It was Chinese New Year too, so everything's closed for 3 days. And the day my flight left, I had a 3-hour window to get it from the pawn shop.
Wow.
And I won money. I had that. I had enough money to go do the rest of the trip. I had won enough money back that I sent money back home to like friends of mine, like, please just take this. Like, I don't want to, I'm gonna,
Yeah.
even though I went to Thailand, they don't have gambling casinos there. And I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't move here. But, but just, I look back at that. I thought, even though I got the necklace back and I made more money, I felt like the biggest piece of shit for
Yeah.
weeks after that, because I was like, just everything emotionally tied up into that necklace and just the situation I put myself in. And I got out of it, but I'm just like, what am I doing? It's insanity. So
Yeah, if you don't know, if you're like weren't ready to admit you had a problem before that, like that's where there's moments like that where it
yeah,
kicks in, because there was plenty of times where over the in my young 20s and stuff, I'm like, I think I have a gambling problem, but you don't really know what problem means. I'm doing this more than most people. I can't really seem to go 2 weeks without doing it and stuff like that. I'm like, why am I just doing? Why would I just keep my money? But then eventually, like those things would get bigger, and like the risks you're willing to take and things you're willing to put into jeopardy get bigger. And I had when in that $15,000 swing I had, when I got to $7,500 down, I told my parents what I did. And my dad had just retired from his job like 2 weeks before, and he had gotten literally like a $7,700 bonus check somehow that he actually didn't even know he was getting. It got mailed like a day before I told them about my problem of $7,500 in the hole, and they signed the check over to me, like good parents, man, just no questions asked. Yeah, you can call it enablement, and it was, and they probably shouldn't have done it, but
yeah,
they helped.
they definitely shouldn't have done it. Yeah,
But they helped
but
out
yeah,
their son,
mm,
and said, But again, we're not all thinking problem. We're thinking dumb
yeah,
mistake, dumb
yeah,
stupid mistake. And so I went and I paid off my credit cards, but I owed them $7,000, and they were realistically I probably didn't owe it to them. They were like, pay it back over years whenever you can.
yeah,
And I didn't want, so I went right back out and gambled with that bookie again, and I lost 7,500 more. And
yeah,
so now it's like, now I'm 15 grand. I mean, 7,500 of them, 7,500 here. And, I only had 500 left on my credit card that I could take out, because I had cut up one credit card already and canceled it when they paid it off. So I had 7,500. So I had 500 left on this one. So I took it out, and I played 500. It was all online at this point. I wasn't even going to a casino with the book. It was online, and I took that 500 I had, and over the next 2 weeks, because there was 2 weeks between pay cycles with the bookie. Over the next 2 weeks, I won $15,500
mm.
over the next 2 weeks. And so not only did I get myself out of everything debt wise, I was up 500. Which, where's the lesson there? The only lesson there was, if you have enough of a bankroll, you'll always come back. Like, that was
Well,
the
you
only.
didn't stop gambling then, right? You gambled after that.
Of course I did, because I was
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
500
yeah,
ahead. Yeah, no,
yeah.
that didn't stop it
And
at all.
your parents love you, and they want to. I mean, I'm saying in general that for
Yes.
any parents of any addict of any sort, and their first instinct is always just to help, and so that's what they do. But then you realize later on, it's like, oh, that isn't going to help me in the long run, like
Yep.
that, like, but it's really hard I'm not a parent, but I know it's got to be really hard to like take that hard line with your kid and be like, this is it, yeah, did you see the movie, Uncut Gems?
Yes.
Did you feel like, I, people had mixed reactions to that movie. A lot of people liked it. I was like, he must have studied. Either Adam Sandler's a compulsive gambler, or he studied like gambling addicts, because that movie was excellent, but it did make me feel like very anxious watching it, because I thought, in my opinion, was very accurate. That
Okay,
movie.
so I'm glad you said that because here's the truth about that movie to me. I watched it with my wife
Yeah.
maybe 2 years ago, year ago, whatever it was. We sat down to watch it. I had so much anxiety watching it that I went
Mm-hmm.
to bed before it ended, and she finished it. I read about how it ended. I've never seen the ending of it because I literally I don't know if it was triggering me or whatever it was,
For
but I
sure.
was so full of anxiety. Where most people, I'm sure most people watching it probably felt some sort of anxiety because that's the type of movie it was trying to be. But being a gambler who's been in like situations that probably could have gone sideways like that,
Mm-hmm.
like if I can't pay that bookie 15 grand, you know what I mean? Like what
Yeah.
happened? You know what I mean? When I had to go meet my bookie to collect my 15,500, they were trying not to pay me. They were trying to find ways that I might have cheated online.
Yeah.
Um, and so
Oh yeah.
I had to get on the phone with them and be like, what you're doing is illegal. What I'm doing is illegal. But I'm just one person. You run many people. So if we have to go report I'd like threaten like going to the law and like blowing up a whole bookies operation to where when I had to go get paid, I had to call my dad and be like, here's where I'm going to get paid. I'm gonna call you and leave it on speaker and leave the phone open so you can hear everything that happens in case something like I'm in a weird spot with it all. Of
Yeah.
course, nothing happened. I'm okay, but watching that movie, I'm like, I could see where this could have went very, very sideways for me at some point in my life, and so I felt way too much in that movie.
I've done the same thing, by the way. I've called friends and said, this is where I'm going if
Yep.
something happened. But it was, in some of the specific cases, I owed them a lot of money.
Mm.
And there would just be people there that would be in the corner that had guns,
Yeah.
but they weren't pointing them at me necessarily. But this guy standing 2 inches from my face, spitting on me, like while he's talking.
Yep.
Yeah, been in all those situations. So I just saw a clip of Uncut Gems last night on TikTok or something when I was like, doom scrolling or whatever before I went to bed, in the real healthy activity.
Yeah.
But and so it made me think. I was like, oh, I want to talk about that. So I watched that movie. I got like a link to it because I'm in the Writers Guild, and they'll send you like these links to watch stuff. Like, hey, for especially when award season is going on. And I was waiting. At the time I was dating a woman who was from Hong Kong, and I had finished a tour, and we ended up in Israel. And so we decided we were going to go to New Zealand together, but I had to kill 5 days. So I went to Bali. This is the really awesome part about being a comic and traveling. So I went to Bali, which is dirt cheap. So I got this villa that had like a bathroom that with sliding doors that open, and you walk down into a swimming pool, and then you had a yard and stuff. And it was like, I don't think it was like $100 a day or something. Like, it was something crazy, or 120 for this thing that
Sure.
would be, six. So I watched that. I don't want to get too much imagery for you. Naked in a pool by my own thing with my iPad set up in the most relaxing setting you could be
Yeah.
in a tropical paradise with food, and I by the end I just had to get out of the pool, like wrap myself in a robe.
Yeah.
I was like,
Emotional support pillow and just curl up.
why was this the movie? Why did I choose to watch this in this scenario? But if you read what happened in the ending, this is what I wanted to bring up is and because you said something that triggered that in my brain was there's a point where he owes all this money and he gets it. He gets that money. He has enough money to pay off these really nasty dudes that clearly have shown they mean business. Like they've thrown him in a trunk and they've done all this stuff, and he hands the money that they get locked in the little box in the front that they it's good writing. They foreshadow it where the magnet's broken at the beginning. Yep. And he hands, I forget how much money it is, but he hands all this money to Julia Fox's character. Can't remember her name. and he says, get on a helicopter, go to whatever it is in Connecticut, Foxwoods or Mohegan Sun or whatever, and put it this parlay that should never come in, that he'd win like 1.8 million or something like that. And he keeps those dudes locked in a box, watches the whole parlay hit, wins the money, takes them out, and you watch the rest of the movie if you haven't seen it. I want to get all spoilers. But I remember people coming up to me and being like, the guy had the money to pay off the bet. Like, why that doesn't make sense that he would do that. And I said, it makes sense to me. I'm like, it makes 100% sense. When he picks up the phone and he's going to call her and he's like, and he goes, no, just put the bet in. And people are like, what the fuck? And I'm like, that is 100% accurate on how a gambler would act. So whatever research they did on that movie, or the writers, whatever, is like, it was akin, and I don't want to say being a gambler is like being a veteran of war, but I know that people, when they saw Saving Private Ryan, had this visceral reaction to it that won World War II. Right. And I'm not comparing war to gambling, but
but Uncut Gems got it right. They got it right.
But it made, I wanted to ask you about, because it really made this reaction that was just horrible.
Yeah. Well, even earlier in the movie, he places, I can't remember if it was a parlay or a teaser. I can't remember what he had in there. But it might even been a 3-team parlay, whatever it was. But he hit it early in the movie, and then they didn't place his bet for him though.
Yeah.
And he hit, and you're watching that. I'm going, God, I could see myself, like, because that's how I felt when I won the 15,500 back playing the online blackjack. The bookies runner called me and they go, hey, you're only supposed to be able to bet $200 per hand, and you've been betting 500 or more per hand. Mm-hmm. And so the bookie's going to reduce all your bets down to 200 a hand and pay you out that amount. So I was still going to get some money, but I'm going, wow, man, they're going to fuck me. And what recourse do I have? I mean, I threatened the cops, but I can't go to the cops. They'll laugh me right out of the fucking station. And so,
you're still a target. Still, I mean, you tell the cops, and now you're still looking over your shoulder for
right. Yeah, right. What good does that do, right? So it's and then so the only thing I had was, I have paid you guys $15,000 over the last 3 months betting this same way. So if you're going to reduce my winnings down to 200 a hand, go back to all my losses over the past 3 months, and anytime I lost more than 200 a hand, reduce that and give me my money back. And I'm like, and they were like, okay, like, fair enough. That's a good point. So they went back and they looked and they saw, and they ended up finding out that their offshore account, whatever it was, they had it, the offshore didn't set it up properly. They were supposed to cap the limits at 200. They didn't. And so it ended up working out way easier than it started. But same thing. I'm going, man, I felt that before, where you win and you still get fucked, and you're like, and it took over a month to get paid, which was the most stressful month of my life. And then in that, I had gotten $4,000. I had $4,000 where I had to go pay off a credit card. I would go to the bank to pay off the $4,000 in cash, so I didn't have to put $4,000 into a bank account, and then my wife would see it. So I walked into the bank with $4,400, paid off a credit card, and I left. And like 2-3 days later, there's no payment on my account. A week later, no payment. I go back into the bank. They're like, who are you? No, we don't see that you put a payment in on this account. And I've got like a receipt that says 4,400 on it, but there's no bank account number tied to it. And I'm like, there's like no proof that I did this. And I find the teller, and I'm like, what? And it ended up being that there was somebody else with either the same last name or a similar account number that they fucked up when they put it in, and they applied it to this guy's account. And I also had a car loan with them, so then they took it out and put it towards my car loan by accident. And it ended just being like, there's this huge, like, 30-day long cluster fuck that it was way more stressful than any of the loss before that.
And you're angry at the bank now because and this is all your fault still, though. It's still all your fault. Yeah. Even though it's their fault doing that.
Yep.
This situation, the amount of time.
Oh yeah.
The amount of time in my life that I've spent either gambling or getting money to gamble or cleaning up a mess from gambling is, you think back and it makes you want to cry, where you're just like, like, every moment's precious. Well, not when you're an addict. You're just so blind to that. So when you're,
And the sleepless nights. Let's not even get into that. Just nights where I've just stared at the ceiling until the sun came up and then just got up without sleeping at all. Like,
Yeah.
how many nights have I wasted like that?
Oh yeah. But if anybody comes up to me now, and because there's another thing in Uncut Gems, the whole movie, but it just made me think about it because I saw this clip last night. There's again, if you haven't seen it, I'm not spoiling everything, just still watch it. But he has this stone. It's like an uncut opal, like an ancient opal or something that's worth however much. And Kevin Garnett, who's actually a pretty good actor, and
Hey,
like just
that's pretty good.
sometimes athletes, but I mean, he gets to play himself, so of course, he wants to hold on to it for good luck in this fictional world that they. And so he gives him his ring, and then he pawns Kevin. He goes to a jeweler, not a pawn
Mm-hmm.
shop, but he goes, "How much?" This is Kevin Garnett's ring that he has to get back to him.
Yep.
And that was another thing that somebody asked me, like, "Yeah, you wouldn't do that." I'm like, I just finished telling you a story of I pawned a gold necklace in Singapore one time, and I had to it's
Yeah.
the risk of it is part of the action and part of the allure, But and I always tell people now, I said, look, if when people tell me like I don't understand gambling addiction, I understand going back to the beginning of the podcast, alcohol and drugs.
Yep.
I said, just watch that movie and just know that that movie is as accurate a depiction as can be. And it might be leveling at differing amounts of money because he owns but think about whatever he has at stake. He's having an affair on his wife, which is part of the behavior that's going to come with that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But he's got a kid who he's teaching to gamble in the movie, which is again accurate, and he's got a wife, and it's a hunter. So just watch that movie. Whoever's responsible for the writing of that movie had
They
to,
did their homework for sure. They did their homework. Yeah.
or they're a gambling addict.
Yep.
That's the one. Then
And it doesn't like. I know it's a movie, but it doesn't
Right.
start with being a jeweler and gambling that amount. Like that's not where anybody starts their addiction.
Yeah.
The addiction starts small, like anything else. $10 hand of blackjack, $5 hand, whatever it is, and it grows from there. And it just that's it's like anything else. Your tolerance level. I remember the first time I lost $500, I couldn't sleep at night. And by the end of my gambling days, that was the minimum amount I was betting per hand. And so it's like anything else. There's addiction. Yeah, there's some physicalness to addiction for sure. There's some physical elements that you have to detox from, but I'd say the majority of it is the mental and emotional elements that you need to be able to detox from to get out of it. And
Yeah.
luckily, knock on wood, as of right now, 6 years, I'm out of it.
Yep. Awesome. Um, yeah, it says the Safdie brothers who directed it. I know that co-wrote it with Ronald Braunstein. So I don't know. Maybe one of them. I'll have to try and get one of them on the podcast.
Yeah, find out what would inspire it. Yeah.
Let's do it. Uncut Gems. Well, great. I would love to have you on another time if you want to be on another time and maybe come up with some topics to talk about. But I really appreciate you being on today and talking about gambling. This was like it was in the zone.
Yeah,
Um,
let's come back for a part two, and we'll talk about how I got out of it the last time, the final straw, kind of what brought me out, and give people that part too. So it's there is some hope to get out.
that's what I usually, and you don't have to tell the whole story right now, but like, what would you say to people out there like struggling with any addiction, but gambling included? So.
It's a tough one because I went through it, so I know that not nobody around you is going to be able to tell you to stop and have that be the magic aha moment for you. You stop when your desire to be done with it is greater than your desire to continue with it. So it's whatever your personal rock bottom is, but just know that your rock bottom does not have to be the worst case scenario rock bottom. It's just your personal threshold. My rock bottom, I'll tell the story next time, but I I didn't even lose. I'd lost way more money in my life than I had lost at my rock bottom moment. But that's when it finally kicked in clarity. So, my advice or what I would say to people is just know that there is a way out, and life is better on the other side of it. And it's you say 6 years and go, that's so far down. Well, I remember being day one and feeling at that low point, and there was a comedian at that point who had just celebrated 5 years of gambling addiction, being free from it, and they posted it online. I never even knew anybody else that had it. I knew it existed, but I didn't know anybody. And I reached out, and they gave me a couple pieces of advice, like just stick with it, build some support around it. And I remember going, man, I hope 5 years from now I could be making a post just like you did. And now I'm celebrating 6 years. It can happen. But it is effort, and it is learning yourself inside and out, and what your triggers are and how to fight them.
Awesome. I think that's a really uh, great point. What you said about rock bottom. People imagine rock bottom is like the worst point, and it might be, but it's your personal view of that, and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the same for everybody,
You
so
don't have to go to jail for stealing from your company to pay off gambling. It doesn't have to be all the. It doesn't have to be. Now I've heard those stories. I went to one Gamblers Anonymous meeting and it scared me straight, pretty much. I mean, I was watching these people like, wow, like this could have been so much worse than where I'm at, but this was my threshold. So it doesn't have to be that absolute bottom out, just your bottom out. Whenever you've had enough.
yeah. All right, Vince, thanks for being here. Everybody go check out Vince at vincecarone.com. He's got tons of material that you can listen to and watch. He's got a special called It's Big Daddy, right?
Bad Father.
Bad Father.
I like Big Daddy though.
Holy shit.
We were on that Adam
I was,
Sandler kick.
I was way off on that. Bad Father?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Bad Father, and you can watch it on Tubi and Apple, right? Is that correct?
Tubi, Apple Prime, YouTube, a lot of the streaming channels that are out there. And I got to do special. I'm recording at the MGM in Vegas called It's Not All Peaches. That's going to be shopped around and hopefully land on either a Netflix or a Hulu. So that's what we're aiming for.
Awesome. All right, cool. Thanks a lot, Vince.
Thanks. See you, Forrest.
All right. That was Vince Carone. Thanks again, Vince, for being on the podcast. We will definitely have him back to find the conclusion of the story. That was great. I felt in the pocket there. That was good. Very relatable. If you're a gambling addict and you have any questions for me, how about this? If you're any type of addict or you have any type of questions whatsoever, email me, forrest@forrestshaw.net. A couple of you emailed me last week. I am saving those emails. I might do an episode where I kind of just go through them and talk about stuff on my own when I need to do a solo episode. Thank you for sending the emails and sharing with me. And you can also call if you don't feel like typing. I feel it. +1 country code. That's the United States of America. Land of the free. Gulf of America. +1 country code, and it's 305 Joe Rang, JOERANG. I should probably know what the numbers are, but just look on your phone and type up Joe Rang, 305 Joe Rang. You know what? Let me look up the stupid numbers, guys. I can already hear someone. I don't know, my phone worn off. I don't know. People aren't saying shit. I'm just trying to kill time while I pull it up. Episodes, podcast docs, episode notes, pulling it up. Here we go. The phone number is 305-563-7264 +1. And as always, if you're feeling like shit, you're feeling down, you need to talk to someone, you're worried about harming yourself, suicide and crisis hotlines, dial 988 in the US and Canada. United Kingdom, 0800-689-5652. Australia, Lifeline, 131114. Finland, 0925250111. Germany, you already know what I'm going to say. What the fuck? How many digits do you need? 03044010607. It's longer than my social security number. Wikipedia page, list of suicide and crisis lines. Go on there if you need to help yourself or help a friend. Do it. But please also send me stuff. Send me questions, comments. And if you don't feel like sending them to me, put them on YouTube. Appreciate who was looking out for me on YouTube, saying they couldn't find me in the search. If anyone else is having trouble finding me in YouTube, please let me know. I appreciate all the comments. I'm rambling now. Should have ended this at least 30 seconds ago, but I'm going to end it right now. Thanks.